Hello, you're on This Week in Startups.
Hi, Jason.
Oh, hey, we did it. Oh my God, technology works.
Yeah, great to have technical difficulties on the live stream.
You know what? We're on a remote, so we're going to give Alex a break. I mean, Alex is basically superhuman. He does like 7 jobs for me, which is 2 less than the average person at Mahalo, but he's young. We'll get him to 9 jobs. I'll have like 27 jobs at Mahalo. So tell us, where are you, and what's your question?
I'm out of Toronto, Canada. And first of all, I'd like to tell you, thank you for this show. I think it's a really huge public service that you're doing to all entrepreneurs. And let me give a little bit of background so that my question makes sense. I'm lucky enough to have one of the more successful Facebook applications. It's called Status Shuffle, and basically you pick a funny status from a huge database, and you use it, watch your friends' reactions, etc. And everything was going great, even more than great. And all of a sudden, Facebook changed their policies. Specifically, they said that applications can't change user statuses anymore unless the user wrote the status themselves. I think it was in their grand scheme of competing more with Twitter. So the position that put us in was all of a sudden, our year-and-a-half-old application was an instant policy violator. And so what happened next was Facebook took away the status part of our application, and we saw 70% decline in traffic in less than 3 weeks. And eventually we reached a sort of compromise with them, and everything is great again. And I'd say that it worked out well for us, so I'm happy about that. But to me, it raised a pretty big question, and not just on Facebook. You're seeing this on Apple's iPhone again, with things like the Google voice applications that were just taken offline. So I ask you, what's your opinion about basing a company around closed platforms like Facebook or iPhone, etc., where the platform's controlling you and not the other way around?
Yeah, this is a very good question.
What are good strategies to reduce the risk if that's what you're doing?
Yeah, this is a great question. This is a question that's come up multiple times. We're in a new phase of the internet where we went from a totally open internet to now a half-open. We call it a hedged garden sometimes. You're open to do certain things in Facebook, but like your situation, if you piss them off or you do something, they decide that you're infringing on what's their territory, and that line is going to change constantly. You could just have your whole business nuked. This is why Jason doesn't build inside of Facebook or on the iPhone, although we will have an iPhone application. I think that you can make wonderful revenue on Facebook now. Zynga, Mafia Wars, Farmville. Some people are knocking the ball out of the park. Some people are making millions of dollars on iPhone applications. So there is a benefit to them. They bring a lot to the table, right? All those iPhones are sold. All these Facebook applications get to leverage the social graph that's already there. The downside is, of course, what's happening to you and many other people. So what an intelligent person would do in this situation is take them for what they're worth, distribution, and build a brand that transcends their platform. So if you're building Status Shuffle and people are getting to learn about it and they enjoy it, try to get their email address. Try to upsell them on getting the toolbar that lets them set it from their toolbar so that you get some relationship with them outside of the Facebook ecosystem. That's what I would be doing. And I certainly wouldn't be using it as my core piece of my business. Then again, Zynga reportedly is making $100 million a year. Mark Pincus is supposedly hitting the ball out of the park. And it's all Facebook, so or some MySpace as well. What do I know? I mean, some of these people are crushing it. I think if you are going to build off of one of these platforms, you better become good friends with the people at that company. And you better go as high up the food chain as you can, because a lot of these relationships, a lot of these businesses, they're based on relationships. So if Mark Pincus is going to get kicked out of Facebook, trust me, he can call Zuckerberg and talk about it. And maybe you're not in that position because you're not in the valley, but you need to build a deep relationship with the application people so when there is a problem, you have somebody to talk to, roll off. You must be seeing this frequently.
I think there are a couple of things I would offer as counsel. One is, well, first off, to say that there's sort of a good and a bad what you described, right? The benefit is if Facebook didn't exist, you wouldn't have had the opportunity, and you can't ride their phenomenal wave. So there's a good part there, and I don't think you're completely should abandon the opportunity to build a business on a platform like Facebook or iPhone, even if they are closed or semi-closed. But at a minimum, what you should do is have a portfolio. So one of the things that Mark did at Zynga, or even Slide did, and RockU, one of Sequoia's investments, did, was to have a portfolio of applications, because they too ran into some of these issues that some of the initial very popular apps around Top Friends or sort of twists on poking, Food Fight and things like that, would have viral loops, but they would quickly be shut down by Facebook. And so if you could use the base that you have from this first application, try to build a few more, so at least you have a portfolio. And then to Jason's point is, if possible, seek additional distribution channels beyond that one. But to have a single product in a single distribution channel in any business is very, very tricky. You can think about it as a standard enterprise business. You'd never want to depend on a single distribution channel.
Yeah, what I don't understand about what Pincus is doing with Farmville, why can't I play Farmville on farmville.com as well? Why wouldn't that exist? It says play on Facebook. Maybe you can play it on their site now.
I think that'll come with time.
Yeah.
And that's part of the benefit of Facebook Connect. In my opinion, is that you can, what Thread.com has done, I don't know if you saw that site launched last week. It's a Sequoia company. A couple of friends of mine from PayPal days actually started this company. It's sort of a dating service centered on the social graph, and their site runs entirely on Facebook. So when you log into Thread.com, you can only do it by connecting your Facebook account. You can't sign up for it with another username or email address. So that's actually, to me, an interesting example of how you can get Facebook, all the benefits of Facebook and the social graph, but on your own domain name. And so I think you'll see more of that.
Yes.
And some of the things, Facebook Connect is now coming to a lot of mobile phone applications as well, which I think is really fascinating. So you could have a truly connected experience with your service being inside Facebook, on your own website, and being an application, but it's all connected. It's a singular experience. And it may be slightly tailored depending on your viewing, whether you're using it on a mobile device or a PC with a keyboard, but it's still the same application. And it's pretty interesting if you can play a game wherever you are.
Sure, and the Facebook login sort of means this is a greater chance of it being a real person and their real name. Because it's very hard to have a fake name on Facebook. You can do it, but it's hard.
It's much, much harder.
Much harder. So great question. And are you coming to TechCrunch 50 next week? Or if I got you a ticket?
If you invite me, I'd love to come.
Really? You're going to get on? You're telling me you're getting on a plane tomorrow or Sunday to come to TechCrunch 50?
Definitely.
You're kidding. Okay, so here we go. Booyakasha. Alex, get this guy a ticket. He's coming. It's sold out, by the way. I have a couple of tickets. I hold back like 10 tickets for just such an occasion. You're coming for free. That's my guest. That's Sequoia's guest. This Week in Startups guest. Of course, thanking the sponsor is always a good idea, because they just paid $3,000 for you to come to TechCrunch 50, and you got to come over and shake my hand, and we'll have a drink at the party, have a lemon drop. Hopefully, I won't get.
It will be a great honor.
Oh, please, just one lemon drop instead of 7 or 8, because last year it got a little rough. All right, good talking to you.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, it was a good question. It's a good call.